All right, this is the importance of visual representation of monitoring data. Please put your hands together for Marcel Hecko.
Thank you very much. Well, welcome to this presentation. I'll be giving you a brief overview about what visual representation of data is, and then show you an application I wrote to visualize some information from Nagios for very specific reasons. My name is Marcel. I come from Slovakia. I'm sorry about my voice, because I woke up at 3 in the morning and I couldn't fall asleep, so I was rehearsing the presentation and actually lost my voice for about half an hour. So I hope it doesn't happen again. And also sorry about my English. My English is a mix of all different languages, Englishes all over the world. And the funny thing is that I've been all around the places where people speak English. I've never been to Canada though. And every time I come to a different country, people think I'm from Canada for some reason. I don't know how that works. Maybe because my name is Marcel, I don't know. Okay, so I'll start once again about myself. I'm actually representing a non-for-profit organization. I started while on high school. We started to build the wireless networks all around the capital of Slovakia, Bratislava. It was a community project, so people could, build their own access points and connect them with each other. And we're still actually building on top of that infrastructure. We still have that infrastructure, and one of, the software I'm going to show you is actually used for monitoring of this infrastructure. I also work for a very large financial institution. We use Nagios and other open source monitoring tools to monitor that infrastructure, but I'm not going to, talk about the enterprise-related stuff too much, maybe next year. So data visualization is what it actually is. Sometimes it's called infographics or graph viz iconography. So basically the way how you interpret data in a visual way. So you have some numbers, you have some text, and you take the text and numbers and lots of numbers, and you're trying to create an image which gives you more information about that whole kind of a data bank of numbers. And one of the most famous visualizations ever made is this one. Have any of you seen it before? Yeah. So it's basically a graph which shows how Napoleon and his army was marching from Europe to Moscow and back. And the width of the line shows you the number of the soldiers in the army. So it actually, so little actually people got to Moscow, and it was just way too cold for them to fight, so they just turned back, and very little people came back. But what I want to show here is that you have so much information put into this graph. You got information like how many people, geographically how they were marching, through, you can actually see rivers. You can see how many, deserters there were at the beginning. People just kind of split from the army. You can see the timeline here. So you get so much different pieces of information put into very simple iconographic like this one. It was made in 1869. And that's great about visualizing data, that you can have so much information and just put them into very, very simple image. Just to kind of go back to monitoring, that I had this vision about the ideal monitoring interface. We have Nagios, we have all the tables and all the information, what's happening, and connections and so on. But sometimes in the future, I would like to see something like this. All systems are in working condition, and that would be like the final frontier for monitoring. It's like, yeah, just IT works. And if something breaks down, it will just say, there is a problem called John. And, you would just know that there is a problem, and John knows everything, and he knows what to do and how to deal with stuff. And you wouldn't have any, kind of trouble with your infrastructure anymore. What I'm going to talk about in this presentation is actually an application I wrote, and I wrote it in 2009. And I saw this slide. This is a slide share screenshot. And this slide is actually Ethan's slide from the NetI conference in 2010. He was talking about the Nagios Exchange portal. And he used my application to show how you can integrate a third-party application into Nagios. And when I found this, I was so proud of something that I did, that I said to myself, well, there's a very old version on Nagios Exchange. I should probably update it and make it more user-friendly and so on. So I did. And the current status of the application looks like this. This is a very simple way how to visualize the information about your infrastructure. You have your hosts, your network points, you have your logic in it, parent-child relationships, you have services, you have other information. You have thousands of checks which are being monitored on those hosts. But you can actually visualize it in this simple way. So if you have, especially if you have a network infrastructure like we have, like a wireless network like this, it's extremely easy to see which nodes are down, which are unreachable, why they're unreachable. And the way how this is done is so simple that it's just basically a combination of Nagios configuration file, status.file, and Google Maps. So I took two very popular technologies, Nagios and Google Maps, and just merged them together. And it became such a popular project that, yeah, I'm just kind of going too much ahead. And this is actually the only way, the only thing you need to do to start using NagMap. That's what I call the application. So you into the nodes part of your host configuration, you just put the latitude and longitude information about where that host is. It will automatically get that information. It's not directly integrated into Nagios, so it's a separate application. It's written in PHP. It's very simple to hack and code and stuff like that. It uses Google API version 3, so it doesn't need any API key or anything like that. The funny thing about this is it's really small application. It's really something very, very simple. And what I love about open source, I'm a huge open source fan, is that you get a lot of feedback from people who are using the software. But I was very amazed about the feedback I got on Nagios Exchange. And that was, you've got NagMap and NagWiz. And NagMap is really simple, just one function thing application which does really, really simple things. It just doesn't do any other thing. It doesn't have any other functionality. And NagWiz is a very complex modular application, great application. There's lots of people behind that. It's really, really good thing. But even though, when you look at the Nagios Exchange, it's just the rates are different. The NagMap it has much more hits. It has much better kind of reviews. And it actually has reviews. NagWiz doesn't even have a reviews, like a text reviews, and a lot of votes. So this was funny because I started to think about the whole concept of creating simple applications like these, just getting simple information and doing very simple coding and visualizing that data. So why this happened? Why people like simple things? Why people like very usable stuff? And I think that there's a great quote from Leonardo da Vinci who says, "Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication." And I think anybody who's writing any code or doing Nagios add-ons or checks or anything like that should probably take some knowledge out of this and try to do things as simple as possible. We had a couple of conversations yesterday about how we could simplify configuration of Nagios. If anyone would like to have a talk about